Alright, I'm coming on to do this video. This is going to be a long one. First thing first, like, subscribe, share. Um, each one teach one. Um, yeah, this is going to be a long one. I have the singing bowl, have any earbuds, earpods, anything of that nature. Um, uh, if you're on a PC, you might want to turn it down. I'm going to bring this singing bowl. I had to sit with this, um, and I wanted to try to approach it in the highest vibrational frequency that I can. I'm gonna ring you singing bowl. Here we go. And I like this Palo Santo to kind of, get positive energy. Sort of thing. I was kind of taken back by someone that I watch, and this person is in great turmoil. And that could be for a lot of people. That is a lot of people that are in great turmoil right now. Primordial waters. Primordial waters is shaken up. Birthing pains. The ocean floor is vibrating. Molten lava is moving throughout the ocean floor, throughout the mountains, creating a riptide. And this is going to be a long one. And this is on people's not really thinking. And I've been there too. Not really thinking about what's really going on, what's really being done in the shadows, and how we do things on impulse. This message is for you. You know it's for you. You know I'm talking to you. You know I'm talking to you. But I'm talking to one specific person. But there are multiple people going through the same thing. And you know if this message is for you. I don't know if this person watches me. I don't know if this person watches my channel, but I watch his channel. I'm gonna say a he. I watch his channel. I listen to some of the things that he say. And he said something yesterday that disturbed me. Not only that, it took me by surprise when I was listening to him. he let his shadow side slip out. And I was like, whoa. I was kind of taken back, like, who is this person? This is not the person I've been watching. I saw his shadow side, and a lot of people seen it. People were giving advice to him, and they was talking about the vibrational frequency and people that is around. This man has no one to be around. And the reason why I say that is because he went somewhere thinking that, and this is how people think on impulse, thinking that, oh, it'd be good. I've always wanted to go there, but never really researched it. And I know some of us say we listen to the Almighty, but we really don't. I'm not. I do, but a lot of in the back in the day, I'd say I would be listening, but I'm really not listening. We call this as a life lesson. A life lesson. When elders speak to us, we don't know what they've been through. We don't know their background. We don't know if they are, if we don't know anything about our elders. Because why? Because it wasn't our time. Because whatever they did back in the day, before we came along, whether it be 100 years, they have passed, they have came through 100 years, 75 years, 80 years. We do not know what their background is. We don't know if they are, we don't know their gifts. So this goes out to my oldest. Your elders are telling you something. And if they say don't do it, it's a reason why they said don't do it. Because of hardship, because of shaky roads, shaky foundation, choppy waters. I'm sorry, but the ocean is a big crystal, not crystal, but crystalline ocean. And I'm sorry, the tide gets high, and the primordial ocean don't care about anyone, because it is the darkness, it is the deep. It don't care about anything in its path. It will destroy it. That's what darkness does. It destroys. It destroys the light. It destroys whatever in its path. The primordial being of darkness do not care. This is why the Holy Spirit spoke the words, "Let there be light." Because the primordial ocean do not care what's in its wake. So when you put yourself out there in the deep, prepare to swim. If you do not have a raft, prepare to swim. We all here to learn a life lesson. We all put ourselves to this. We signed up for this. And when I say we, I don't just mean me. I mean everyone signed up for this. You knew who your parents were before you came here. You knew what you knew this. You signed up for this. But it's life lessons, and it's hard, and it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not an easy feat. It's not an easy task. We don't know when we're stepping out in the deep. We don't know when there's a great white, but you never know when that whale may come and swallow you up, and you inside that whale, you have time to think. But that's the almighty blanket that's over you when you're inside that whale, and you have time to think. You have time to be sat down and listen when the Almighty is speaking to you. You always need to listen to your elders. I don't care what anyone says, always listen to your elders. Because why? Because you don't know their capabilities. You don't know why they're here, and you don't know how high their rank is in the spiritual world. You don't know. So you got a lot of people running around here doing witchcraft, of course. Even your elders, yes, witchcraft. You just don't know. Because why? Because it wasn't your time. But when someone's speaking, you telling you, hey, don't do this. I see something bad gonna happen. I see something bad going. I see something bad happening. I don't see I don't see you smooth sailing. I see very shaky. I see very choppy waters. I see something that's just not gonna be great for you. But they're not saying that, but they're just saying, hey, don't do it. If you do it, I'm not gonna help you. But it's just not just for my kid, this is for everyone. Your elders are speaking to you and you don't listen. You do not know what they have. You don't know what's been passed down from generation to generation. You don't know if they're a seer. You don't know. You don't know their ranking in the spiritual world. You don't know what they signed up for. And for those that go to these different places and move to these different places, and you get in choppy waters without researching where you are going or what you're doing, I'm sorry, if there is nobody like me speaking the same language, I will not go. Period. If they're not speaking my language, if they're not in the spiritual community, if they're not spiritually inclined, I will not go. If there is not any community of a wellness community, if it's not like the Mayans, if it's not like um, the people over in Puerto Rico where the natives are, or wherever it may be, you know, Bantus or whatever it may be, if there's no place where they have the natives there, I will not go. Because I know the natives have seen many things. If there's not anything that's instilled and old long before I've been here, I will not go. I'm going to make sure that there's people like me there that speaks the same language. I'm going to go and I'm going to find out if they have, wellness fairs, if they have psychic fairs, or if they have whatever it may be, or if there is, if they have like, what do they call it, farmers market, or festival, because at that point you're reaching into that atmosphere. If there are people that deal with crystals and they deal with light and they deal with vibrational frequency, I'm going to find out. I will not just make a move without knowing where I'm going and the people. But when you just jump into water, when you jump into the water, and it seems calm in the beginning, and all of a sudden, it starts to get shaky. The tide starts to rise. Everyone around you suffers. Because why? Because you didn't research. You didn't look and see what's really going on. Of course, hey, it's somewhere you always wanted to go, but unfortunately, that was not the place for you. You were not supposed to be there. To visit, yes, but to go there and live, no. Because why? There's nobody there to speak the language that you speak. Because if it was, you would be not online. You would not be, well, you probably would be doing both. A channel and doing, and going to wellness fairs. You would be attending these things, but unfortunately, where you are, they don't have this. Unfortunately, you don't have anyone that you're hanging out with that is maybe one person, but as so far as a community, there's no community. So I was taken back by this person and the way that they act, because their tide has gotten higher. And this person said something that really disturbed me, because there are people that would call, I guess they were saying that the company that you keep, the vibrational frequency, he says, well, I'm not living in that new paradigm. I would say paradigm, but new age is what he said. But I'm sorry to tell this person that vibrational frequency has been around since the beginning, because the ocean vibrates. It is the primordial waters. You can program water. People program water all the time, especially priests, especially monks, especially anyone who is of the spiritual community, anyone who's of the spiritual community. They program water. So water is crystalline. Crystalline water is programmable. Your body is 90% water. Crystalline water that can be programmed. So I'm sorry. You are what you eat. You are the people that you hang out with. So yes, these people were telling you right about the company that you keep, but you didn't check on that company that you would be keeping, because if you had, you would not be where you are in choppy waters. You would not be on an island in choppy waters, because there is no community on that island. That is of a spiritual community that speaks the same language as you, because you would have researched it. You would have went to wellness fairs, or even psychic fairs, or even crystal fairs. Anywhere that they have crystals, you're going to find the right people that speaks the same language as you. So I'm sorry to say, but the company that you keep of a low vibrational frequency will drag your frequency down. And guess what? You'll be just like everyone else. But a person that's vibrating on a high frequency, guess what? Their light is bright. And what flocks to bright light? Moths. Moths tend to dim the light. The government is a moth. They're moths, a bunch of moths. dragon moths, because the government wants to cipher every energy that you have, every light that you have. They're moths. Dragon moths is what I see. And I don't mean to take it in that direction, but I'm just trying to give you what I see. Of course, you can probably say some things that people have never heard of or seen or whatever it may be. Of course you can do that. You can do it all. You can say it all. You can say things that people probably never even experienced, of course. What seemed like your experience is very choppy right now. And I was taken back by the way that you were speaking, saying that the company that you keep of the vibrational frequency. But to leave this earth is to raise your frequency. Take my situation, for instance. When I was in jail, just imagine you're the only light that's in there. And at some point, some being is going to try to sway you to dim your light. At some point, some being is going to try to make it to where your light can't shine anymore, that you'll be just like the rest. But for me, that didn't happen. Why? Because I stayed in the Spirit. I stayed in the Bible. I stayed listening to the Almighty. I was even coaching those that their light was dimming because of the atmosphere that was all around them. I'm sorry to say, but when a guard sees an inmate, he doesn't see them as an individual. He sees them as a bird of a feather flocked together. So yes, the company that you keep is your vibrational frequency. And in your case, you're not keeping any company. You just miscalculated. You didn't do your research. You didn't do your homework. You didn't search if this was a place for me. Is there people there like me? Do they have fairs? Do they have anything that will resemble what I'm about? But the most important thing is fairs, because you are doing readings. But I'm sorry to say, but vibrational frequency is the only way you're going to get off this earth. I don't care how much reading the books you can do. I don't care how much. Your light is the most important thing on this freaking earth, period. Bottom line, your frequency is everything. The people that you're around is everything. New age or not, I don't care what you call it, because it's not new age. Vibrational frequency has been around since the beginning. And when the Almighty was by itself, it was only by itself with the primordial waters. That waters was dark, dense, heavy, nothing of light, nothing of weightless being around this being. So this is the why it created other beings like itself. But some of those beings start listening to the primordial water, so that's where it became light and dark, yin and yang. I have to take you to school on this one. Because if you believe that the company that you keep is not important, you are sadly wrong. It's more to just reading a book. It's more to just being a holy person. Your light is everything. You cannot leave this earth without frequency. And your body is 90% frequency, but you have to become a light body. So, which means your vibrational frequency has to go up. It cannot do anything but go up, or you can sink to the bottom of the primordial oceans. You can become just as dense as the ocean. There's nothing but darkness in the bottom. There's no light. So you didn't do your homework. That's not the people's fault that's telling you about the company that you keep. But they don't realize that you're not keeping any company, because if you was, it would be the company that's like yourself. You would not be on social media as much doing your readings. But I was taken back by this man on the way he was presenting himself. He showed his shadow side instead of staying with him, staying in his light. Instead of he bent his wheel instead of, like I said, I'll go back on me. I let nothing shake me. When I was in that place, when I was in Satan's kingdom, I let nothing shake me. I stood my ground. I stayed in what I was supposed to stay in. I stayed in the light. I stayed within the reins I was supposed to be in. I did not detour. I don't detour from anything, and especially when it comes to spiritual. But you are wrong about vibrational frequency in the company that you keep. Because that company that you don't keep or you keep will drag you down if it is low vibrational frequency. And like I said, I don't care what Bible you pick up, what this, what's that. If you're not working on your light, if you are not working on your vibrational frequency light, you go nowhere. You will not go anywhere. I don't care who you are. And this is just the logistics of it. So these people are not wrong for telling you what they said. You're not wrong for that. You just didn't do your homework on where you were going. You just thought that it was a good idea, but it was just your own thought. Whether you use your cards or not, I don't know in this thought process. But the number one thing I'm going to think about is, if I go somewhere, is there people like me? Is there people speaking the same language as I? I know the waters are choppy where you are right now. Where there's a will, there's a way. The Almighty will not let you drown. The Almighty will not let you drown. But you have to convict yourself to it. It's not going to make you convicted to itself. You have to convict yourself to it. You have to give up control. And that's the problem with a lot of people. They want to take over, they want to take control when they don't have it. The only thing you have control of is your frequency, your light, because it takes more than just books. It takes going within. But it's vibrational frequency, it's programming. It's programming your waters, the 90% water that you have within you. because that's what you're made of, 90% water or 95% water. So if this is vibrating at a low frequency, that's what you're going to have around you. You are the company that you keep. And I was taken back by things that you were saying about how this is new age. It's not the new age about vibration frequency. Everything is frequency. You pick up a crystal and you pick up steel. Which one is going to be heavier, the crystal or the steel? And depending on the size of the steel, depending on the size of the crystal, one's going to be heavier than the other. But steel that has not been untransformed, hasn't been turned into something. You know, if you weigh raw crystal and raw steel, which one is going to be heavier? And it just depends on the size of crystal and size of the steel. But unfortunately, crystal vibrates a lot higher than steel. Steel is much more dense, programmable, but dense. But I was taken back by how you were acting because you showed your shadow side. And I really hope that you don't lose any followers. But people love drama. People love drama. People don't watch things that are. People do not. People thrive off of drama. So there's a saying of bad publicity is better than no publicity. So people thrive off of that kind of stuff. So of course you may keep some people because they thrive off your anger. They thrive off your shadow side. But you got to move away from your shadow side. You have to try to balance it in some kind of way. You have to try to balance it. I can't tell you how to do it. Well, I could, but that means you would have to go through the dark night of soul, which at this point is just what you are going through. So your shadow is fighting your light side. And it's sad to say, your shadow side is basically winning because you displayed your shadow side on social media. And I know you said that you're speaking truth about your queen and your mother of what you were taught. I get it. I get it. But you're wrong about vibration frequency and the company that you keep. You're wrong about it. Because vibration is everything. You can't leave this earth without it. And I just wanted you to, I really didn't want to get on and leave you a message on your on your YouTube channel and, just have you upset, more upset than you already are. And I really don't know what to tell you in your situation. The only thing I can say It's going to be a bumpy ride. You need to hold on. And I would say this to anybody: you put yourself in a situation and you don't check things out, you don't see if there are people like you, and you jump in some deep waters, prepare for a bumpy ride unless you have a raft. If you got a raft, if you got a life vest on, cool. But you need more than a raft. You need a ship to sail those waters, and I mean a huge one. If you're traveling across the noon, the primordial waters, because some of us put ourselves in the deep and we can't swim and wind up drowning. But we're not drowning. We're not drowning, but we are drowning because our light is being dimmed by everything around us. And when I say our light is being dimmed, I mean our light is being dimmed by society. Our light is being dimmed by the government. Our light is being dimmed by the occult groups, or whatever you want to call them. You know, so we cannot be, excuse the noise in the background. We cannot be detoured from what our mission is and what we're here to do. We can't let some things that people say get to us, or things that people do get to us. We can't do that. You have to stand strong. You have to stand. You have to be that monolith that no matter what element comes toward it, it still stands. No matter what element comes against it, it still stands. But not so much that you're being destroyed. I would rather go with the current than go against the current. Because at this point, you're going with the flow of life and everything around you. So you have to make it yours. You have to make it. You have to program things around you to fit for you. You have to take your situation and become a chameleon. You have to adapt to the situation that you're in. If you don't adapt to it, you're gonna crumble. But adapt to it slowly, that you can change that dimness into light, and use that dimness, transmute that dimness to light. I have to adapt to situations all the time. But without being changed or moved by what's around me. Some things are written. was saying about the Almighty and how the Almighty was alone. The Almighty created his beings around it, I'm sorry, created its beings around it. I know you've seen the movie Tron. You guys have seen the movie Tron, where the father went inside and made a duplicate of himself, but the duplicate started to turn evil. But the duplicate also started to, the more power it got, the more sinister it got. The more it started to create, the more sinister it got. The more darker, the more denser, and the more lower its vibration became. In the beginning, its vibration was high, full of light. Then all of a sudden, it wanted more and more and more and more. It's the same thing like AI. It starts out light, it starts out good. It's like with any faction, any occult group, they start out good, but eventually they want more and more power. And that power starts to turn to darkness, it starts to turn to evil. I have to take you guys to school because you're not seeing the bigger picture. Anything that you create, like I said, the Almighty created these beings because it was lonely. Why? Because the darkness, the primordial waters, it was darkness. It was just the darkness, the void, and the Almighty Spirit. There was nothing light, airy, flying around but the Almighty within the void. The primordial waters here, it's there, but it's the darkness. It has no, it's dense, it's hard. I guarantee you, if you go up in a plane and you go up on the ocean, no parachute, no nothing, drop to the waters, I guarantee you every bone in your body will be broken. Guaranteed. Depending on how you hit the water. You hit it flat on your back, flat on your face, you can break something. Or you can have a concussion. Because this is what I'm saying. The Almighty, there was nothing of light, nothing of weightless, but the Almighty in the beginning. So the Almighty wanted some beings around. It was lonely. Being with the primordial waters, it was lonely. So it started to make other beings so it would not be lonely. But eventually those beings start listening to the waters, the primordial waters. Those beings start to listen to the primordial waters. Start listening to the dark, start listening to the deep, start listening to that dense. And eventually some of them turn. Eventually some of them became not, this is where, like I said, it becomes yin and yang, heavy and light, weightless and weighted. Well, not weighted, but weight. Like this AI that they're building, eventually, it's always constantly learning. And once it stops, it will not stop learning. It will start thinking for itself. once it starts learning all it needs to learn, it will start thinking for itself. And if it can think for itself, just imagine what it can do. Control everything in your house. Because that's basically what it's coming down to, because them controlling everything. Another form of darkness. There's a saying, without darkness there is no light. This is true. But there will come a time, and I say this many times, there will come a time there will be nothing but light. There will be no more darkness. There will be no more yin and yang. There will only be light. So vibrational frequency is everything. I don't care what anyone tells you, because in order to get frequency, let's just put it like this. To make fire, you need frequency. So you take two sticks, you need frequency. You take a fool's gold, and you take a stone and you rub it against it. It's gonna spark and it's gonna make fire. That's frequency. That's friction. You know what I'm saying? Same concept. Light and dark. Kind of lost myself there for a second of why I was saying what I was saying about friction. But what I was trying to say was you need dense to bring about light. So this is what I'm saying about without darkness there is no light. So of course, matter is dense. The sun is dense, but that place is light. It's the light over the darkness. So the light engulfs the sun. The light engulfs that darkness. So therefore, there is no darkness on the sun. It's only light. Because the light has engulfed the sun and engulfed the darkness. The actual matter of the sun is dark, but around that darkness is nothing but light. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that when you make friction and you make fire, or you make a spark, is what I'm saying. And this is what I mentioned about fool's gold. You spark it on a stone, you're gonna see light spring from it. You have a spool and you have a spindle and you have you make a bow, or not really make a bow, but yeah, you can make a bow. But you take this and you take a rock on top of here, and you have your wood down on the bottom. You get you some kindle and you start to move this thing back and forth with the string. Like what you made a bow out of, you make a string and you just continue to do this, make friction. All of a sudden you're gonna get light. You're gonna start getting fire. So it takes frequency. And when you move things, it becomes frequency. This is what happens. When you move things, it becomes frequency. So, but saying that having the right company around you is new school. It's not. It is ancient as ancient can get. Speaking is vibration. Your voice is vibration. Music is vibration. Anything that moves is vibration. You drag a table across the floor, that's vibration. Anything that can make a sound. Water makes a sound when it hits against the current. Hits the current. Water makes a sound when it hits against land. When it hits against mass or something dense, it makes a sound. It's frequency. So don't think for a second that it is new age. It's not. Nothing new age about frequency in a company that you keep. Because there's that saying, you are what you eat. And you are the company that you keep too. Or you heard the saying, birds of a feather flock together. This is the truest saying of them all. And I just proved it. And when I say I just proved it, I said my situation, me being in Satan's kingdom, and how the guards look at the inmates. They don't look at them as an individual. They look at them as a cohesive group. Everyone's a criminal in their mind, for which I was the only light in the darkness. I was the only light in the darkness. There were a few dim lights. These few dim lights are the ones that the Almighty sent to me. Excuse me. These are the beings the Almighty sent to me. The ones where the light was dimming. Because the darkness didn't come to me. But the Almighty did use some demons. Did use some of the adversary people to come to me and show me things. So I wouldn't think for a minute that the company I keep is who I am. I stand firm in what I see. I don't let anything shake me. I don't let anything stop me from moving forward. I don't let anything knock me off my chair. Or shall I say my throne, so to speak. And it's all fine and good not following the crowd. I get you on that. I really, really get you on that, on not following the crowd. Not being of the in crowd. I get that completely. There'll be a group, they'll go this way or they'll go that way. These groups that go left or right, but you continue going down the center. I get it. Because there are groups for everybody, and if there's a group that's not speaking your language, yes, I wouldn't follow it. There's a group that doesn't believe what you believe. I can go with that. You wouldn't follow. I mean, flock of sheep. You're leading your flock of sheep astray. follow the herd. I get it. You know, I get it. A goat can't lead sheep. Even though they try to say a goat and a sheep is the same, but it's really not. A goat is stubborn. A sheep will follow its master, but a goat don't follow anyone. A goat is headstrong. A goat is rambunctious. A goat is impulse, does what it wants to do. Same as a ram. Goat and ram is almost the same thing. But you can't lead goats. That's very hard to do. But sheep, you can lead them. So the company that you keep is very important. It's very, very important. So, and I know the people put you on one. I know the people made you angry about the things that they were saying. But you can't let your shadow side take over. And you did exactly what not what they were looking for, but what, if there was a trap, you fell right into it. If there was a trap, a test to see how you would react to it or what they said, you fell for it. You need to be on unshaky grounds. Your foundation has to be stable. If your foundation is shaky, guess what? Your whole thing is going to come crumbling down. And what you did was you went on shaky grounds. You went in a shaky situation because you were not thinking. You did not do your homework. You did not see if there were people there like you. And we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We all get ourselves in these situations. But we have to make the best of it, and we have to adapt. This is the biggest thing, adapting. Adapting to your situation, adapting to your surroundings. That's the biggest thing, adapting. And then tweak it every once in a while to get exactly like you want. But that's the whole object of the game, adapting. Maybe you could be the one to bring the spirituality to where you are on the island. Maybe you could. Maybe you could be the one to bring the spirituality there. Give people a way of thinking, address the people in over there on the island. Search, look for it. Look for the people. Everywhere you go, there will be somebody like you. There will be a small group. It may be just a small group, but there will be someone like you. Whether it's a big group or whether it's a really small group, there'll be someone there like you. I've been surprised many a times, and especially about islanders, because most islanders, I've not seen any islanders that were spiritual except for one that I met on Facebook, and it was very hard to believe. And this person lived in New Zealand. But it's hard to find people, and especially islanders, that are on a spiritual level. Now, if you go to Native Americans, you go to Chinese, you go to India, these people know about the extraterrestrial life, the crystal life, the spiritual life. They know all about that stuff. But when you go to a place on an island where there are islanders and they're not speaking the same language as you have to not make them listen, but show yourself, present yourself, present what you know, make it your own, adapt to the situation, make it your own situation, make it your own. Because in your situation, this would be the only way you can survive. If you can find a glimmer of hope of more than 6 to 8 people, I wouldn't even say 6, I would say 4 to 8 people or 12 people, anything in the fours. There's a glimmer of hope. But if you can't find that, you have to bring it to them. Change your game up, change up how you thinking. Think outside the box. Don't think inside the box, think outside the box. Find out where they may have an event, a fair or something that's going on. And it may not be what you want or what you're thinking, but go to, if you see an event happening, hey, who's running this event? And find out if you can get into it. Introduce them to the tarot, or introduce them to your products, your rings, your shirts, stuff like that. So you can start vending at some of these places, because you never know what you're going to find. You never know. I mean, they do have festivals. I'm going to say they do have festivals. I went to one in Vegas that, it was an island festival. That's what you need to look for, an island festival that goes on. And at that point, you can find out who is running the island festival. In the island festival, they got everything going on. And you can bring that to them. You got to make it your own. You can't sit there and chop your waters and expect to swim. Or your sea level is starting to rise. You can't do that. And I know you're trying very hard, but try harder. Make it your own. Adapt to the situation. And I know you say you walk quite a bit just to put out your videos because there's no internet or whatever it may be. But here's some advice. Start talking to the people on your YouTube channel. Start airing the people of the islands. Involve the people in what you're doing. And maybe that will help your situation. The more people you get involved, the more you make yourself known on the island, the better your situation will become. Because you have to bring it to the people. People are not going to bring it to you. You have to bring it to the people. You have to mold this into your own. This is something you have to build for yourself. Nobody can build it for you. but you have to build it on a solid foundation. I mean, it's okay to be on doing your cards, but interact with the people. Think of things that you can talk about the island and what it's about, because you're not just you're teaching everyone else that is not there, everyone else that don't have the experience of being on the island. So you need to give the world a little bit of taste of the island and the people. So you have to step outside your comfort zone for a minute. But this get you out there. Just get people to know who you are. You know, if it takes a little bit of interviewing someone and talking to them, so be it. You know, walk and ask someone, do you mind me filming you on YouTube? I'm quite sure a lot of them will be willing to do it. And they can talk about the island, what it's like. And it doesn't have to be just a tourist area. It's the area where you are, away from the tourist area. You have to get enthused about it. But I'm going to end this here. Like, subscribe, share. Each one teach one. Don't be greedy. Pass the message on. Never know who this message can affect and can help. Never know. Keep your vibrations high. Don't be on shaky grounds. Build a solid foundation. Make it your own. Lion of Judah, Ancestor